everyone, it's Julia and welcome to my channel. I am back today with a video that I've mentioned a few videos back that I want to do this series on more calm, less clutter in my sewing room. And today's the day I'm going to start. I'm a little bit overwhelmed with it because there's just a lot. But I'm going to break it into 5 areas, and the areas that I'm going to be working on will be listed down below. And my hope is that you will join me. Now your areas that you need to tackle may be different than my areas, but I think if we break it down into pieces, it's going to be a little bit easier and not so overwhelming. I want to touch first on organizational styles. I have been watching this channel for many years, and her name is Clutterbug. Her channel is Clutterbug, and I will link her down below. She is hilarious. She has so much insight, and she's just so entertaining. But this last few weeks, she has been going over organizational styles, and she breaks them down into 4 styles. Each one is named a bug. And I am, without a doubt, a ladybug. And she also touches on not only the characteristics of the bugs, but also what type of organizational systems work best for them. So a little bit about a ladybug, which is hands down what I am. I do not like to look at clutter. Clutter makes me anxious and makes me to the point where I can't really create. If there's just too much stuff, I don't do well. However, do not open my closets without some kind of head protection, and do not open any of my drawers if you ever want to shut that drawer again, because honestly I shove everything out of sight, and that's what I do. But with that said, the type of organizational systems that work best for me are really simple ones. If I have to take off a complicated lid to put something away, it's not going to happen. It's just going to be shoved someplace, out of sight, out of mind. And so knowing that, I can work a little bit easier with my systems. Now this is throughout my whole house. I am a ladybug. And one of the things that she commented on, knowing whether you're a ladybug or not, is if the peanut butter jar is put away, but the lid is askew and hardly half on, you are a ladybug. And yep, that is so me. And so I'm going to just be going through my sewing room, giving you a little tour of it first of all, and showing you a little bit of the areas. This isn't going to be a detailed tour, but just showing you some of the areas that I'm dealing with. And I first of all want to talk about a craft room, sewing room, because this can be a little bit of a touchy subject because not everybody has the space. And let me tell you, I have been married for over 30 years and we have moved 16 times. And so I have had 16 different sewing rooms, and I've been in this house for a little less than 2 years. And I do have a room to myself in this one. My craft room is a 2nd bedroom or a 3rd bedroom, but I have had it all when it comes to sewing rooms. I have been on dining room tables with my storage in a kitchen cupboard. I have been in many laundry rooms, just a corner of a laundry room or a corner of a guest bedroom. I remember in college when I took I majored in textiles, so I took a lot of sewing classes, and I had my little portable Kenmore in one hand and my little sewing kit on the other, and I marched down to the student lounge with the little card table. I made it work, and I just wanted to let you know that you can make it work too with whatever space you have. And so let's get going on the tour itself, and I'm going to show you the space I'm working in. I'm walking into my craft sewing room right now. This room measures about, I would say, 10 feet by 11 feet, so it's not a super big room. I will have to say this is probably my favorite sewing room that I have had. I've had really large like unfinished basements and really large areas, and it just seemed to not work as well as this smaller space. And so as I walk in, I have right off the bat, I have this old vintage egg crate, and it has several drawers, and right now I'm not using it to its potential. I have a few buttons in them, but the drawers are over 12 inches deep, and so I'm hoping to be able to put some of my paper, like my craft stock and my card stock, excuse me, and that type of thing, laying flat in those drawers. And on top I do have some of my mannequins. A lot of these I use mainly for taking pictures for listings and things on Etsy. But then as I walk into the room, I have two different areas. On my left side here, I have a high or a countertop level, so a standing. It first starts with this bookshelf that I store, oh what a mess, but I store all my paper in, paper crafting items. And it worked out nice in that this bookshelf is the same height as my folding cutting board or cutting table. And I was fortunate enough to get that cutting table used at the flea market. Someone just happened to have it, and I picked it up for really relatively inexpensive. And that just kind of flows. So when I do most of my videos, I am standing right here. I'm going to pan up here a little bit, you'll see where my camera is normally on this little black arm pointing down. So on this cutting table, cutting board, I have my mat, I have my iron and my place to basically my pressing cloth thing. And then I have an open shelf system with very messy baskets. With all one of them has interfacing, one of them has scraps of muslin, so every time I have a piece of muslin or fleece that's a scrap, I'll just throw it in that. One of them holds my technical stuff. The bottom shelf holds some of my designs, but everything is within hand's reach, but nothing is labeled, and that is definitely something I have to work on, not only cleaning out these bins, but also labeling, so things get put back the way they need to. But this type of a system works really well for me because I can just really quickly put it away, and it doesn't take any time at all. And then on this side, I have a banquet table. I'm going to pan down for just a second here, and you will see I have this banquet table on risers. They're like bed risers that I picked up at Target or Walmart. And what's nice about those is that it lifts that banquet table up to be the exact height as my cutting board. And so I have an L-shaped here, all the same height. And on this banquet table, this is a really heavy, really old banquet table, something again that was gifted to me. But I have my Big Shot and my cutting dies. Everything that I use on a pretty much daily basis. I have my crocodile, I have my button making machine, and all my Big's dies. And then in the corner here it gets messy again. It's stuff I just need to go through. And I know I have things here that I just haven't used since I probably moved here. And I need to declutter and not throw anything away, but things will be taken to the thrift store. And now panning over again onto the other side of the room. The other side of the room is where I have my sitting area. I have my sewing machines, again an L shaped. I have two tables set up. I'm going to grab this chair out of here. I have a 4-foot table and a longer 6-foot table. I have my two sewing machines that I've just sit in the corner here. I have my Janome, which is my electronic machine that does all my zigzags and fancy stitches and it writes and all that stuff. And then this is my Christmas present to myself, which is going to be probably an upcoming review. I want to just use the machine a little bit more, so I'm just going to keep that hidden for now. But then I have on this side, in between the two stations, I have my serger, and that is on, again, something I found at the thrift store. It's an old, or not the thrift store, I think I found it again at the flea market. It's an old typewriter table, and it's on wheels, so I just pull it out and I can flip up the they have like little extensions or little arms on it, and when I need my serger, it's really handy for me. Now I'm gonna pan up over here and you'll see what I have for my storage, or for most of my storage. On this side I have this one of the 9-unit storage systems that you can pick up at Target. I think Walmart carries them. And that is where all my fibers are stored, my laces, some notions, my ribbons, trims, and a mess. I definitely need to go through that area and purge. And over on this side I have 2 of those units, and they just sit on that back of that table, and this is where I store all my fabric. And each bin is a different color, and I'll get more into that and how I do that. Now keep in mind, everybody sews different things. I don't sew quilts or large sewing clothing projects. I have little itty bitty pieces of appliques, and so I don't need yardages. I have very few, like actually a piece of fabric where there's more than 1 yard, because I don't use it, I don't need it. And each one of these little baskets is a different color. Like I'll have all my oranges and reds in one, and whatever down the line, but nothing is labeled. And honestly, I have so much stuffed in those little things that I can't hardly even pull them out. Definitely something I need to go through. My buttons are a huge mess. I have some in that vintage egg crate when we walked in. I have some right by my sewing machine in little drawers. I have some of my bigger ones up on top. That I have to figure something out, because honestly, I don't use my buttons unless I have them super accessible right at my sewing machine. And so I'm gonna do some rearranging and to get all my buttons in one area. Another thing that needs a ton of work is my thread area, and my thread I keep in this little drawer system in the corner. I have just way too much, and that needs to be sorted out, and we'll talk more about thread when I get to that little unit, to that part of the series. Also on my little workstation, which is my sitting area, I have the area where I have my desk stuff. I have my journals, I have my Bibles, I have my things that I'm working on sitting, and pencils, and again, everything is just shoved and it's a bit of a mess. We are getting over to the side of the the side of the room that is so bad, the closet. Starting with my little IKEA rack where I keep all my paints and that type of a supply, my mixed media stuff, my punches, heat guns, all that is right in this area. But wait till you see what's in this closet. I am going to open the door and back up so hopefully nothing falls and you can see this. Yeah. So my intention on this whole closet thing was this was going to be my paper crafting, my art area. And it has another one of those 4-foot tables. And I was just going to pull my chair, which rolls, and was going to just pull it right up there. And I was going to sit down at that table, and I was going to do all my work. Well, I can't even get my chair up to it. I have so much stuff shoved underneath it. And then, I mean, I made an attempt with some labeling and some organizing, but everything just gets thrown. And truthfully, I just have too much stuff. All my rubber stamping on this little shelf unit that I picked up at a thrift store, which works really well. It's just messy. And going up on my closet, I have, again, making an attempt with some labeling of stuff, but it just needs to be sorted out, and I just need to just go through it. And so that is definitely one of the days that I'm going to be working on this whole thing, my paper crafting area. And then we are back to the doorway, and that is it for my sewing room tour. I really hope you enjoy this series. I will have an area a day for, I think there's 5 different areas, like I mentioned, and I hope you join me in more freedom, less clutter, and just more calm in 2018. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.